It sure is good to be back from my little hiatus. Speaking of, I was supposed to do a collab with Toon Kritic.
Hey Bloom, yeah, we kind of ran out of ramen, so I had to borrow some money out of that little piggy bank. Hi.
Have you been here the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much. I've been sleeping in your closet. It's would make a complaint or so against the tight space in there, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
But I don't even have a... What do you know? Well, since you're here, and have been for a while apparently, let's get started.
Well, I quite literally walked into a collab this time, so why the heck not? Let's take a look at testing 1, 2, 3, and I'm pretty sure my mic is working.
So the episode starts off with Twilight muttering about Rainbow Dash not studying for her history test to get into the Wonderbolt's reserves, and Rainbow responds with a nice jab at Twilight about the failure song. We also get a nice reference to the ending, but more on that later. Twilight decides she's going to help Rainbow Dash study. This can only end well. Step 1, highlighting.
Highlighting. Nothing says remember stuff than marking everything and then completely forgetting everything anyway. Not that I have personal experience on that.
Twilight gives Rainbow Dash a giant book and tells her to only highlight the important parts of the book. And Rainbow proceeds to highlight the entire book.
This is why I love you, Rainbow. Like, literally, you are exactly how I was in middle school. I have never felt more close to you than all those cloth fics I read about you. I mean, what? Yeah, I feel you. I mean, Rainbow Dash has kind of got, some problems with the studying and the testing and, yeah.
Well, I identify with Rainbow here too. Not in the same way you do. But I used to highlight everything, but with the way my teachers tested, I was right to do so. Next up, lecture. While Rainbow Dash is not paying attention, I was at the edge of my seat with all the new world building. Also, one thing, a lot of people have asked why they didn't watch the mentioned History of the Wonderbolts movie. I assume there isn't one. It'd be like me asking to watch the organic chemistry movie. Oh, Celestia, that would have made my life easier.
That's our society, people. We're too lazy to read, so we wait for the movie version.
I'll have you know that I read all 7 books, and was actually at the midnight release of books 4 through 7. Yes, I'm a geek.
Welcome to the club, sister. Anyway, world building is always fun, and it's great to see more history of the Wonderbolts than before. We had the Academy, we had races, we had Rainbow Falls, but now we can see a historical part of it. Whether or not this messes with continuity, I don't know, and I don't really care. But I can already hear the fanfic writers jumping on this and typing away their own headcanons. That is also really cool when we're given new headcanons to explore from the writers.
Speaking of which, Twilight mentions in her lecture that the original Wonderbolt team was founded by Firefly. Farewell, sweet headcanon.
So since lectures won't work, we move it up to the dreaded flashcards. Seriously, you could use one of those to slit someone's neck if you wanted. They're that sharp.
Twilight mentions that it's her favorite type of studying, and it's my least. I'm sorry, but flashcards have never worked for me. The only good it did was I would remember the stuff I'd written down if I made the flashcards myself. Pre-made flashcards do nothing.
And when even the flashcards don't work, Twilight's frustration kicks in with a pop quiz that Rainbow pretty much flunks.
Likely she just needed breakfast to keep her brain going. Twilight, feed your friend!
Finally, that's enough to give Dash a reality check that if she doesn't memorize any of this, she will flunk. And for the oddest reason, Dash blames Twilight. Now, I'm a Dashy fan to the core, but there's only so much one can do with their stereotype that she doesn't care about school before we look at our watches and count down how long it'll take for things to turn around.
Enter Fluttershy to stop the fighting and whisk Rainbow Dash away to a cute mute animal play about the history. That doesn't work either. I'm starting to think the movie would have been a waste of time too.
I'm failing to see how the mute play would have benefited Rainbow Dash. In fact, it seems counterproductive. I get what Fluttershy was trying to do. It was great. She even stepped in to, stop Twilight and Dash from arguing. And when Pinkie Pie steps up to try and get Dash's interest, she does it through a song. Ooh, this ought to be good. What kind of song are we gonna the Fresh Prince of Ponyville? What?
This song was awesome and groan-worthy. It reminded me of my childhood, but not the favorite part of my childhood. They had a lot of cool callbacks. The aspect ratio, audio and visual quality, skateboarding, the Saved by the Bell background. Also, the doctor and assistant better have a bloody good explanation why the doctor is rapping.
It's, well, catchy, but Jesus, guys, raps and ponies shouldn't mix officially. Look what we've already done with dubstep, come on. I understand it's Pinkie, only Pinkie could have pulled this off, but can you imagine Twilight or Rainbow Dash pulling this off? No. It's a stupid song, but it ranks just around a guilty pleasure because I actually liked how they did it. They crammed so many 90 references in it, it actually kinda worked but failed at the same time. It's not the worst song, and it's not the Cutie Mark Crusader's first song, so it's somewhere neatly stacked in the middle.
Next, we follow Rarity to a fashion museum. What exactly was she planning to achieve with this? I gotta say though, I love the idea that ponies once rocked the bell-bottom look.
And I also gotta say, these costumes look pretty rad. I don't know how long it took her to make all these, maybe she had them lying around or something, but pony roleplay it is! And besides a few references, this method doesn't really work either.
Maybe it's for a reenactment? I have no idea. It's at this point I say, kinesthetic learning, guys, get Applejack! As soon as I say this, we get the best thing ever. A lot of people have assumed that Applejack is stupid, either because of her fancy mathematics statement at the beginning of the series, or just because she's Southern. Oddly, I see mostly Southern people making this accusation. But I never thought that she was stupid, and this sorta proves it here. To be fair, I can't imagine there was a time that Applejack cared much about academic knowledge, and she's not shown to be Pinkie Pie or Twilight level of intelligent, but she does have her own brand of knowledge by learning slowly over time about materials she cares about. Learn by doing. But what I loved most about this scene even more was that Applejack's just like, yep, you're screwed. It was brilliant.
And people say I have rants, damn. I'm not exactly keen on AJ's line there, but hey, at this point I'd be concerned too. When conventional means just don't seem to work, Rainbow cracks down.
After a scene reminiscent of the Ticketmaster, Rainbow flies away all depressed. Twilight follows after and tries to cheer her up. The dialogue here is very familiar to me. Being all depressed about my intelligence, someone trying to cheer me up by saying I have a bunch of geek knowledge, only for me to remind them that such knowledge is useless in the real world, etc., etc. But is interrupted by Twilight nearly getting mauled by Cherryberry in a helicopter. That Earth pony sure does like flight. We learn that Rainbow Dash pays great attention to her surroundings when she flies. Remember the opening?
I see what they did here now. In the weirdest way, Rainbow Dash learns through a multitasking method. And I can relate to this. In school, I can only work well if I multitask too. It was really confusing for some people, but the end justifies the means.
Twilight flies away with an idea, and immediately after, Rainbow curls up in a cloud, all depressed, and the previously white cloud turns into a storm cloud. Holy crap, our moods can affect the weather? How does that work? Emotions equal condensation? That's so awesome! I mean, sad. Sad. Poor Rainbow Dash. Anyway, later on, Twilight tries to fly with Rainbow, talking about nothing, and Rainbow arrives at her house fully educated. What? I understand the whole learn by multitasking, but subconscious learning? I don't think that's a thing. We later see that the whole town put on a big show complete with cosplaying and fireworks. Really, Rainbow? None of that registered? Also, let us take a moment for a well-used Big Mac.
Unicorn! Pegasus! E-U-P!
Yup.
So he's been demoted to sign holder? Well, I guess background poniness runs in the family. Ow! It's a joke! Jesus!
Anyway, at the end, Rainbow turns in her test and begins to get all nervous. Yeah, I do that. I turn in a test all confidently, and then as soon as I start walking away, I start questioning if I spelled my name right. But luckily, the guard has a very convenient 100% star, and we all live happily ever after. Final thoughts?
Alright, so I was a little skeptical of how this was going to turn out. Dash has gotten some pretty decent episodes in Season 4, and this one I think fits, again, nicely somewhere in the middle. Dash being a brat with her studying at first can be a bit of a put-off. Her journey to try and get one step closer to becoming a Wonderbolt is slowly creeping forward, and I think here was an appropriate way to show some development for her. It's not a lot of development, but it's sufficient enough to where, she's at least progressed. We know what makes things work for Dash, so if she passed, all those fan arts of Wonderbolt Dash can slowly come to fruition. So, yeah, overall good episode that has a few hiccups, but still good.
Other than that completely unconscious learning bit, which I'm still not really sure about, I love the heck out of this episode. Really identified with it, really loved it. One of my favorite episodes of the season, if not the show. Alright, that's that, and Toon, what are you doing?
Yeah, right, I'm gonna take you home and I'm gonna raid... Ah, crap.
Oi! Get back here with that! Leave a comment and I will see you later. Brony on, my friends. I swear to Celestia Toon, you give that back!
Phew, and don't forget to subscribe. Jesus! Okay, that was not just a rock, that was a freaking boulder! Here's another one. I'm out of here. I'm getting out of here before I get concussioned again.
I don't claim to be an A student, but I'm trying hard to be. I think that maybe by being an A student, baby, I could win your love. I could win your love for me. Oh, don't know much about the Middle Ages. Looked at the pictures and I turned the pages. Don't know nothing about no